Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're going to tackle a question that might just change the way you think about health. What if the single most effective piece of diet advice was also the simplest one?
Yeah, are you tired of complicated diet plans? I mean, if this feels familiar, you are definitely not alone. The constant flood of health advice out there, it can feel like a full-time job just trying to keep up with all the rules.
You know the drill. 1 minute it's cut carbs, the next it's eat more protein, then it's go low fat, but make sure you avoid sugar. And don't forget to reduce your sodium and count every single calorie. It's just endless, right? And half the time it all contradicts itself, leaving you wondering, where do I even start?
But what if there was a simpler way? What if we could just cut through all that noise? Well, a really important study published in the super prestigious Annals of Internal Medicine decided to test a radically simple idea.
Okay, so let's get into this experiment. It was a showdown, really. One simple goal versus a whole bunch of complicated rules.
So, the researchers took 240 adults who all had metabolic syndrome. That's a group of conditions that raises your risk for things like heart disease and diabetes. They split them into two groups. Group 1 got the full complex American Heart Association diet. Calculated calories, less sugar, less salt, the whole 9 yards. But Group 2, they got just one single instruction. Eat at least 30 grams of fiber a day. That's it, nothing else.
All right, now for the results. This is where it gets really interesting. What happened after a whole year? So, after a year, which group do you think lost more weight? I mean, you'd think the group with all the complicated rules would just blow the other one out of the water, right? But the data told a completely different story. Take a look at this. The results were shockingly close. The group on the complex diet lost about 2.7 kilograms. That's roughly 6 pounds. And the fiber-only group? They lost 2.1 kilograms, almost 5 pounds. Statistically, that difference is basically nothing. It proves that the super simple approach was just as effective. And you could argue it's actually better, because a plan you can actually stick with is always going to be the winner in the long run.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The researchers themselves said it. A simplified approach is a reasonable alternative for people who have a tough time sticking to more complicated diets. That's huge.
But wait, that's not even the whole story. The really cool part is what happened to the rest of their diet. The simple fiber group, they ended up improving their overall diet quality without even trying to.
So, how did that happen? It's all thanks to something called the crowding out effect. It's this awesome little trick of human psychology.
Here's how it works. When you focus on adding good stuff, in this case high-fiber foods like fruits, veggies, and beans, you naturally get fuller. These foods are just more satisfying. So what happens? You just have less room and honestly less desire for the not-so-healthy stuff. It's like you're crowding out the junk food without even thinking about it.
And get this is the real kicker. The fiber-only group ended up cutting their saturated fat intake just as much as the group that was specifically told to cut their saturated fat. They weren't even trying to, it just happened as a side effect. It just goes to show how one simple positive change can create this cascade of other benefits all on its own.
Now, this is a really important point. When we talk about fiber, we have to be specific because not all fiber is created equal. The source really matters.
See, the kind of fiber that got these amazing results is what scientists call intrinsic fiber. Think of it as fiber in its natural state, the fiber that's locked inside the cells of whole plant foods. That's totally different from isolated fiber. That's the stuff you find in supplements and powders. It's been pulled out of the plant, and it's missing that whole original structure. And because of that, the health benefits just aren't as consistent or reliable.
Yeah, the research is pretty clear on this one. You just can't assume a supplement is going to give you the same benefits as fiber that's, still inside a whole food. Getting it from things like fruits, vegetables, and legumes, that's the real key.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that simplicity can be an incredibly powerful tool for making real, lasting change. Maybe we're all just overthinking this health stuff.
So here's what you can take away from all this. First, focus on adding, not just subtracting. Instead of a long list of don'ts, pick one powerful do. Second, get that fiber from whole foods. And third, just trust that one simple positive change can start a ripple effect of other good things happening, almost automatically.
And of course, a very quick reminder, we're not doctors or medical professionals. This is all for informational purposes. You should always talk to a healthcare professional for advice that's tailored specifically to you.
So it all leaves us with one final thought to chew on.
What if the simplest change you could possibly make is also the most powerful one?